Welcome to Leadership CEOs. You are here because you were made for more. Be a CEO, a creator of expansive opportunities. My name is Michelle Shutter, and I have a simple question for you today. How will you lead your ship? Because without a doubt, you were made for more, period. Fly your ship, and let's get started. Welcome to Leadership CEOs. Be a creator of expansive opportunities, CEO. My name is Michelle Shutter, and I want to thank you for showing up today. Thank you for taking some time out of your day to really up-level yourself and really start to step into that expansiveness. Because today, in this episode, we are going to talk about the ways you are blocking the flow of receiving. And you might think, what? Like, why on earth would I block the flow of receiving? It's great to receive. However, we have been conditioned in ways that it is not okay to receive, and we aren't fully conscious when it comes to receiving. So what do? We have a tendency to block it. So today I'm going to share with you 3 ways that you potentially are blocking receiving. But before I get into that, if you are new to the podcast or new to the videos, make sure you say hello, drop me a comment, let me know what you are taking away from this. And just to introduce myself, my name is Michelle Shutter, and I love to support heart-centered women just like you and really challenging the modern style of life so that you can take any size vision that you have and create expansive opportunities in all areas of your life. Because deep within your soul, you know that you were made for more, period. You wouldn't be here listening to this or watching this if you didn't believe you were made for more. So welcome. I'm so glad to have you. And just know today, because I like to keep these videos and the podcast short and just kind of bite-sized in a sense, just know that there are additional ways. I actually shared 2 other ways that you are blocking and ways that you can start to open up your receiving. Just check the description with this video or the podcast, the show notes. Everything will be in there so that you can access it as well. So let's get into this. 3 ways that you are blocking the flow of receiving. So let's talk about this like kind of from a starting point. So the starting point would be you set a goal of some sort. It could be a goal in your business. It could be a goal financially. It could be a health goal. It could be a relationship goal. Like there's a lot of different goals that you certainly could set, right? And when you set that, do you ever question yourself or ask, am I open to receiving that? Because sometimes, a lot of times, we overlook the opportunity to allow ourselves to receive. Now, when you ask yourself that question, you really want to tune into your body and look to see where your body perhaps is giving some kind of reaction to that. Where does it show up? What feelings are you experiencing around that? So for me, there are times where I have set goals and it wasn't comfortable for me. And what I've learned over time is that it wasn't comfortable for me because I really couldn't allow myself to receive that. I had just blocks that I had to work through to be able to receive the goal that I truly wanted. And that showed up, and because I wasn't open to receiving it, that showed up in like the actions I took and the inactions that I took. So it's so important that you really are opening the hose, right? Like we're not kinking it, that we're opening the hose to receiving. Now, think back to your younger years, perhaps even childhood. Was the topic of receiving ever discussed? Well, no, right? Like for many people, they have been conditioned the modern style of life, right? So let's challenge it. They've been conditioned to believe that it's better to give than receive. So what do? We give, 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 give. We give, 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 give. We give, 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 give. And when we do that over and over again, we really become overwhelmed. We become stressed out, and we really block that flow of receiving. Why isn't it equally important to give and to receive? Or on some days, some occasions, why isn't it okay just to receive? Because it is. But we have to retrain ourselves and start to become aware of where we are blocking this flow so that we are opening the channels to receiving. So the 3 ways that I have for you today, starting with number 1, is this. Do you just allow a bump in the road to take you out of the game, to shut you down? So let me give you an example of this. You set your goal, and let's use fitness. Like, let's say your goal was to, I don't know, run a 3K, and you're following a pattern, or you're following a schedule for your workouts, but on one particular day, just the workout was just hard, right? The running was just hard. And like 3 days prior, you just had these great workouts, so you went into the workout today thinking, oh, this is going to be great. It's going to be smooth as silk. I've got this. And all of a sudden, like, you're sucking wind, your legs ache, your mind is telling you got to stop. This is ridiculous. What were you thinking? Well, this one little bump all of a sudden just took you completely off course. It took you out of action. It really made you second guess as to whether or not you wanted to proceed. And because you really allowed this bump to have the majority of your power, you've blocked the flow of receiving. You've blocked the flow of the growth that you will get through the other workouts, and you've blocked what potentially is available to you at the end of completing this. So I really want you to think about your goals, and like, is there a bump that has come up with some of them where you're just allowing this little bump to take you out of the race? And perhaps you just need to look at this a different way. So perhaps, going back to the example that I used about a run, well, perhaps you didn't eat as well the night before. Perhaps you didn't hydrate yourself enough. Perhaps you looked at the schedule wrong and it was an off day, right? Or maybe the off day is tomorrow, but you thought you would flip-flop. Don't allow the little bumps to take you out of the game. Don't allow the little blocks or the little bumps to block your flow of receiving. So that's the first thing I want you to be aware of. Are there blocks or are there bumps that you are allowing to become a huge block and really block that flow of receiving? Number 2, and I alluded to this earlier, is that whole belief that it is better to give than to receive. Honestly, it is equally important for both. There has got to be a duality there. We give, we receive. We give, we receive. But for many of us, that conditioning is deep within us, and that we can only be givers. Now, this comes up a lot with moms. So, moms, you give, 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 give. You give. And you have this guilt around wanting to do something for yourself and receiving some time off from the mom duties. And so it's really important that you look at that belief. How true is that it's better to give than to receive? Where did that come from? Because perhaps that is not your truth. For some people, it could be true, but it doesn't have to be your truth. In addition to, the whole mom guilt, we have this situation too where better to give than to receive, then I need to take on more things. I can't say no. I can't have boundaries. What will people think of me if I don't overextend myself and juggle 20 plates above my head? Mm, really stop and think about this one. Is it truly better to give than to receive? Because this is a quick way to head to burnout, especially moms, right? I call it moms, maxed out mom syndrome. There has to be a balance there, and you must allow yourself the ability to receive. So that was number 2. Number 1 is, are you allowing bumps to take you out of the game? Number 2, you hold that belief that it's better to give than to receive. Now that you know this, you're up-leveling your awareness, and then you're going to see where this starts to show up for you. Again, when you have that awareness, you get to make a choice. If you want to stay in that state, that's fine. If you don't want to stay in that state, that's fine, right? But now you're consciously aware of where I want that energy to go. Because I guarantee you, in that state of guilt and overwhelm and shame and blaming yourself and judging yourself, that vibrational energy is so much lower than where you truly want to go. The flow of receiving is a higher vibrational energy level. So you want to raise yourself to match that. Number 3, a third way that you are blocking the flow of receiving is that you're afraid of losing your identity. You might think, oh my gosh, what on earth are you referring to here? Well, let's say you're running that, you're starting workouts because you want to lose weight. Okay, you want to get to a healthier you want to release some of those pounds. But are you truly open to receiving that? Are you truly open to receiving a healthier version of you? Because your subconscious is also thinking, who will I be without that weight? What will my identity be? And for some people like that, or that ego mind gets scared, right? Like, I don't want you to lose that weight because you've carried that around with you for the last 3 decades. I don't want you to lose that. Like, who will you be? So really sink into that. Are you using this, blocking this flow of receiving as some kind of connection to your identity? The other thing around this too is you'll have to step into a new you. So if you have not been a receiver and you want to start open that flow and step past those blocks, you really must think about, this is going to require you to step into a new you. And that in itself can be scary too. So you want to make sure you're surrounding yourself with a mentor, a coach, people that will support you, people that will give you a hand up, not necessarily a hand out, people that are there to support you. Because this can be tricky. And we are way too close to the situation to truly identify it about ourselves. And within that, I just want to share with you a meditation that I had one time. So it was a guided meditation, and we were like flowing down this river. And I don't remember the exact wording or anything with it, but it was like I saw myself getting hooked on a tree, and that it was like this mask, like it was like this outside costume of me just kind of peeled away and remained on the branch. But I still looked like myself, but that old self just kind of hung on the branch as I continued to flow down the river. And it's such a beautiful analogy because that's what receiving can be for you. It's really letting go of that old self, letting go of those beliefs that no longer serve you, and really allowing yourself to flow into that new self that higher vibrational self, that true self that you've become disconnected to or disconnected from, and you're ready to reconnect to. So those 3 ways again are that you are blocking the flow of receiving are 1, you're allowing a bump to take you off course. Number 2, you hold the belief that it's better to give than to receive. And number 3, you're afraid of losing your identity. Now, keep in mind, as I mentioned at the beginning, there are really 5 ways that I went into this, how you are blocking the flow of receiving. If you want to get access to that, just go ahead and grab the link that is in the description in the show notes. Within that video, I also go into 3 ways that you can begin to open that flow of receiving. 3 things that you can begin to implement to move beyond those blocks. So I hope you take advantage of that, because that will begin to empower you in a new way too, and really bust through some of that old garbage, some of the limiting beliefs that really do not serve the higher self, that higher true self that you are longing for. So what did you take away from this episode? Where are you blocking the flow of receiving? And keep in mind, this work you have to do on your own, but it's not meant for you to do alone. So be happy to support you in any way I can. And one question for you before I wrap this up: how will you lead your ship today? Because deep within your soul and within my soul, I know that you were made for more. Go fly your ship, and we'll see you next time. Hey, it's Michelle. If you got value from this, I would be so grateful if you would share this message with a girlfriend, a teammate, a coworker, a neighbor, a sister, someone that is ready to lead her ship and become a creator of expansive opportunities. Because after all, you were made for more. We were made for more, and we're in this together. Fly your ship.